Picture this. The year is 1095, and Pope Urban II has just called for the First Crusade. Europe is a boiling pot of political unrest, and religious fervour is at its peak. The Byzantine Empire is under threat from the Seljuk Turks, and the Pope sees an opportunity. He calls upon the nobility of Europe to take up arms, not for land or power, but in the name of faith. The response is overwhelming. Thousands heed the call, ready to lay down their lives for what they believe is a divine cause. Among these fervent souls, a group of knights emerge, bound by a common purpose, to protect Christian pilgrims in the Holy Land. They are the poor fellow soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, a title as grand as their cause. But history knows them by a simpler name, the Templar Knights. Thus, against this tumultuous backdrop, the Templar Knights were born. In 1119, 9 knights took a vow to protect Christian pilgrims travelling to the Holy Land. This was the humble beginning of the Templar Knights. The Templars, as they would come to be known, were initially formed to ensure the safety of these pilgrims. The journey to Jerusalem was fraught with danger, from bandit attacks to harsh weather conditions, but these 9 knights, led by Hugues de Pau and Godfrey de Saint-Omer, pledged their swords and their lives to this cause. They were not wealthy men, but they brought with them a determination and a sense of purpose that would see them rise to become one of the most powerful organizations of the medieval world. The turning point came in 1129 at the Council of Troyes. It was here that the Church officially recognized the Templar Knights, giving them a mandate that extended far beyond their initial purpose. They were now not just protectors, but holy warriors, sanctioned by the Church itself. This recognition fueled their growth, both in power and in numbers. Over the next 2 centuries, the Templars would be involved in some of the key battles and events of the Crusades. They fought at the Siege of Ascalon, held the line at the Battle of Montgisard, and many Templars lost their lives in the disastrous Battle of Hattin. Yet, despite these losses, their reputation only grew. They were respected by friend and foe alike for their discipline, their courage, and their unwavering faith. But the Templars were not just warriors, they were also diplomats, negotiators, and even bankers. They built fortifications, managed estates, and collected taxes. Their influence was felt not just in the Holy Land, but across the whole of Christendom. With their reputation as fierce warriors and devout Christians, the Templar Knights were a force to be reckoned with. Their rise was meteoric, their influence vast, but as we'll see in the next scene, even the mightiest can fall. Stay tuned as we delve into the Templar Knights' pioneering role in banking and their eventual downfall. But the Templars were not just warriors, they were also pioneers in a field we wouldn't typically associate with knights: banking. Indeed, it is an unusual association, but the Templar Knights were at the forefront of developing what we now understand as the modern banking system. This wasn't a calculated move into finance, rather a practical solution to a problem they faced. Their operations, from logistics to warfare, were expensive and required a steady stream of funds. As the Templars' influence grew, so did their need for resources. They were not only knights but also monks, and this dual role made them a trusted entity. Pilgrims heading to the Holy Land would often leave their valuables with a local Templar preceptory for safekeeping. In return, they would receive a letter of credit, a document that proved they had made a deposit. These pilgrims would then embark on their journey without the burden of carrying their wealth, safe in the knowledge that their possessions were secure. Upon reaching their destination, they could visit another Templar establishment, present their letter of credit, and withdraw their valuables. This system, in essence, was an early form of banking. The Templars' system of letters of credit quickly gained popularity. It was not only safer, but also far more convenient than carrying large amounts of gold or other valuables. As a result, the Templars' network of preceptories became a vast financial network, connecting different corners of the medieval world. Moreover, the Templars began to offer additional financial services. They provided loans to monarchs and nobles, becoming influential financiers and gaining significant political power in the process. They also invested in various ventures, such as vineyards and manufacturing, generating more wealth and expanding their financial influence. So the Templar Knights, these holy warriors and monks, found themselves at the heart of a financial revolution. They had created a system that allowed for the safe and convenient transfer of wealth across great distances. Who would have thought that these holy warriors would lay the groundwork for modern banking? However, the Templar Knights' power and wealth eventually led to their downfall. The loss of the Holy Land marked the beginning of the end for the Templar Knights. No longer were they the holy warriors safeguarding the sacred sites of Christianity. Their military importance waned, but their financial influence remained strong, perhaps too strong for their own good. Countries across Europe were in debt to the Templars. France in particular owed them a hefty sum. King Philip IV of France, burdened by these debts, saw an opportunity to eliminate his financial obligations. He launched a campaign of persecution against the Templars, accusing them of heresy and other crimes. This led to their arrest, trial and eventual dissolution by Pope Clement V in 1312. Their strongholds were seized, their treasures claimed, and their members either executed or absorbed into other orders. The Templar Knights, once powerful and revered, were no more. Though the Templar Knights have been gone for centuries, their legacy still resonates today. The Templars, once holy warriors, have become a cultural phenomenon. They've been immortalized in books, movies, and video games, often portrayed as keepers of ancient secrets and treasures. Yet, their most enduring legacy isn't shrouded in mystery, but rather in the everyday world of finance. The Templars revolutionized the way money was handled in medieval Europe. They paved the way for modern banking, introducing concepts like credit and loans. They made it possible for pilgrims to travel safely without the burden of carrying large sums of money. Even today, their influence can be seen in our banking system. Their innovative approach to finance has shaped the way we handle money, making transactions safer and more efficient. So the next time you step into a bank, spare a thought for the Templar Knights, holy warriors turned banking pioneers.